Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the market trader. Before we get started, let's go ahead and review our risk disclosure. Go ahead and do that. Just kind of want to remind everybody the content that's being published and distributed by the market trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that futures does carry a fair amount of risk, and an investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay. So now that we've gotten the risk disclosure out of the way here, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to our news portal, okay, and just kind of get a sense for what news we have in store or ahead of us that could potentially impact the markets. Okay, so we've already received the initial jobless claims that came in under expected, which is with a positive. Continued jobless claims actually continued to increase or did not come in below expectations, so that was a bit of a negative. And then we still have in the horizon here at 9:45 a.m. Eastern, we have the S&P PMI, manufacturing and composite PMI reporting. Okay, so that's a relatively important piece of news that will be percolating into the markets that could impact the markets. Okay. At 10 a.m., we have new home sales. And at 1 p.m., we have the 10-year tip note reporting. And then we have a couple of presidential kind of visits and reports there. And then ultimately, after which shouldn't have much of an impact on us, but we have the Intel reporting after the market here. Okay, just kind of looking ahead for the remainder of the week. Appears that we've gotten through the brunt of the news events. Obviously, we're always at the exposure of some sort of unannounced or unanticipated news event that could impact the markets on tariffs or things of that nature. That we're always at risk of that. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead now and turn our attention to the markets. Okay. So again, as you know, we do kind of a little bit of a top-down analysis of the markets here. Okay. We start off. Let me go ahead and display, and then we'll go through this. We go through a little bit of a top-down analysis. We start off with a daily chart and move our way down on the markets we care about. We look at the gold, we look at the crude oil, we look at the Nasdaq, we look at the ES and close out with the Dow. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's share that. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that and see if we can get that. There it is. Okay, so you can see right now I was looking at the silver, but let's go ahead and turn our attention here to the gold. Okay, so we'll open up the gold chart here. Okay, and this is the one in the middle here. Okay, so we're going to start off with the daily chart. Okay, start off with the daily chart and kind of work our way to the lower time frame charts. Okay, so as you can see here, we continue to be in this kind of consolidation range. Okay, this is the I guess the second consecutive day. All right, second consecutive day that we have a developing bearish candle. Okay, we closed out yesterday with a rather strong bearish candle to the downside, and we have yet another day that is starting out bearish. Okay, in an otherwise market that appears to be in some sort of consolidation range, some sort of triangle pattern, some sort of pattern here. Okay, so again, I'm just going to kind of draw that in, right? This appears to me more of a kind of a wedge, ascending wedge pattern. Okay, so pattern still really relatively bullish. Okay, we haven't really broken any significant structure. We haven't broken below this triangle pattern, right, to give us an indication that maybe we are in a definitive move here to the downside. Right, you can see that this lower end of this trend line is going to be an important trend line to hold if we are going to maintain any semblance of continued bullish behavior. Okay, you can see that while we are overlapping in price, price still is creating some higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, we'll look at the 4-hour chart. We'll turn off initial balance here for a moment and kind of get a sense of what the market is doing at the moment. You can see over the series of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 4-hour candles have all been to the downside. Okay, so this entire rally that we had here, okay, this entire rally that we had here has been retraced. Okay, this entire rally has been retraced. Now we are coming into some areas, couple of areas where we could see the potential of some buyers. Okay, I'm going to draw a couple. So the main one I would say is this one below. Okay, I'm just going to go with the one that's most extreme. Okay, and that's this one down below here. Okay, so right around this 3340 level, expectation is that this area is going to be somewhat supportive. Okay, why do I say that? Because I have evidence as I look to the left of the chart. I have evidence as I look to the left of the chart that this area was an area where we found buyers before. Okay, now there is another, I guess, level here just above. We're going to go ahead and draw that in. Okay, this area here around 3360. Okay, is another kind of area, right? That held, right? We had price kind of make a little bit of a staircase action here, right? It staircased here, and each time it staircased, it never really made it back inside this area. So I would say that anywhere between 3320 on the low end up to 3355, it could be an area where we could potentially see a reversal in price. But the path currently is bearish. Okay, let's go ahead and move into the 30-minute chart. Okay, we'll take a look and see what the 30-minute chart has to say about our current price movement. And you can see, right, there is a fair amount of sellers. Okay, fair amount of sellers in this market. Right, if we take back at start of Wednesday here, right, from the start of Wednesday till now, really very little in the way of bullish price action. Okay, so the market continues to look bearish here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile. Okay, and get a sense for where price is in relation to current price action. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and drag that across here. All right, to the close of the session here. All right. And you can see that price is well below value, okay, indicating that folks are willing to pay a premium to be part of a downside move in this market. I'm going to go ahead and mark this 3,300 level, okay, this 3,300 level. Expectation is that this level is going to be resistant on the way up, okay, should we get a move back in that direction, okay. We're going to go ahead now and open up our anchor VWAP just to get a sense for where this London stand in all of this here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and locate London here. There it is. So London, you can see that they're also bearish on this market as well. Okay, so last thing we need to add here is our initial balance range. So we're creating not a range for Asia, but let's go ahead and create a range for the US session. So we'll modify this to the day session, regular trading hours. And you can see that we are for now creating a relatively standard initial balance range. Okay. So I would say headed into the session, I would say that I'm looking for, continuation of some bearish price action. I do need some sort of pullback, okay, in order to really participate in this market. Maybe a pullback to IB high, a pullback to this daily VWAP, okay, in order to really manage my risk and participate in this downside move, okay. I'm not really inclined to potentially pay a premium, all right, on this downside move, okay. So you can see, right, also, I was going to note here, you can see that volume is supportive of this current move to the downside. So I would say until we start to see some other price actions that would indicate we've already identified some levels below us here, right? We're at a level that we had identified before, right? This 33.55 level, somewhere in that range. And then ultimately this 33.25 level as potential support areas, right? Okay, so let's see if we can modify this ASR here to not New York, but London. Okay, that's since it's the most recent session. So you can see here that we've already exceeded the range for London. Okay, so again, it would be natural for price to potentially stall here. Okay, but the fact that we've broken this range to the downside is an indication that there's still a fair amount of momentum here to the downside. So I would say that the best path forward would be to look for an area, right? A prior area, whether that's VWAP, whether that's the value area from yesterday, to look for opportunities for a continuation trade to the downside. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for you for the gold markets. We'll go ahead now. Let's go ahead and maybe take a little drink of my tea here. We'll move on to the crude oil market. Okay, so we'll move on to the crude oil market. Now, crude oil market has not been an overly impressive market of late, although we're starting to see maybe some signs of life here in this market. So let's go ahead and open up the daily chart. Again, you can see the similar kind of triangle pattern that we've discussed, but it's a triangle pattern to the downside, right? We have kind of a descending kind of pattern here, right? So however you want to slice this, maybe we just focus our attention on the lower end of this. But if you look at this, right, this looks more like a descending pattern here, right? Now, this 64 level, I would say is a relatively important level in this market. Okay, so that's down below here. Okay, the 64, right about here. Okay, is a relatively important level. So we'll maybe adjust this down, but you can see that we are in some sort of descending triangle pattern here. Okay. So daily, while showing maybe that we are maybe creating the beginnings of maybe a W pattern, looks like. Okay, if I do this, right, if I go here and then I go here, right, oops, right, you can see, right, that we're maybe in the beginnings of some sort of W pattern, double bottom in this market. Okay. So while I remain bearish, I do see that we're maybe in the beginning stages of maybe a potential reversal in this market. Okay. But obviously, I still need to see further evidence that price is able to break some structure, this trend line to begin with. Maybe could I adjust this here a little bit, right? This trend line to begin with, I need to see price break above that level, right, for me to begin to think that maybe we have some participants that are able and willing to take price higher. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now, move on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. We're going to disable our initial balance here for a moment. We're still about 3 minutes away from the open here. So you can see here, right? You can see that little triangle pattern that I had drawn. You can see that the market still is kind of in a descending pattern here. But we are starting to break maybe some structure here to the upside. Okay, we're starting to get some indications here, right? We had a 4-hour candle that broke this kind of structure. We have a candle that's developing that attempted to go lower, but that was met with some buyers. So we're beginning to see some signs, okay, that maybe some buyers are beginning to step into this market. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, again, we're getting further evidence. So maybe we see that we just received a 3-bar reversal pattern. If we look at the most recent price action, well, that price action has been higher. Okay, now if obviously we look at more with greater context, we see that we still are kind of in some bearish structure here, but we are starting to see some signs that maybe the crude oil is beginning to show some signs of life to the upside. Okay. We're going to go ahead now and open up our fixed range volume profile. We're going to get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and highlight that and drag that across to the close. Okay. So as I mentioned, right, we're starting to see some life. You can see that price is above our value range, right? So if we're above value, again, is an indication that people, participants, are willing to pay a premium to be a part of this market. Okay, rather than wait for a value area, they are continuing to enter the market and knowing that they're paying a premium to be a participant. Okay. All right. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and open up our Anchor VWAP. We're about a minute away from the open of the session here. So we're going to go ahead and locate the start of the London session. Okay. So you can see with this candle, with these two candles, that price is above. Okay. Again, indication that we are maybe in the beginnings of maybe some bullish price action in the crude oil. Okay. We'll go ahead and open up the initial balance here. Like I said, the initial balance has not opened yet, but so I would say on the shorter term, okay, I still need maybe some additional information here, maybe from the markets to really tell me. I'm going to go ahead and open up the volume profile here on the right. You can see that the initial balance range just opened here. Okay, so we do have some maybe resistance areas here above us. We do see that price is above our value range, like as I already noted here. So it'll be interesting to see over the course of the session what kind of initial balance range we end up with. Okay, and whether we get in which direction does this initial balance range break? If we break the initial balance range to the upside, then I would say that 66.59 is not out of the realm of possibility here. Okay. And if I open up the initial balance extensions on this initial balance tool, okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, boom, this, and this. Okay, you can see that the 66.43 level, even the 66.28 level, is not out of the realm of possibilities. Okay, given the current initial balance range. All right. Now, but we still need to get above this 66, right? 66, a hold. We need to hold 66 in order for all of this to take place. Okay. Now that we've gotten through the crude oil, we'll take another sip of my tea, and then we'll move on to the equity markets. Okay, so again, we'll start off with the yearly chart, not yearly, sorry, daily chart. That would be something. Take a look at the yearly. So let's take a look at the daily. Okay, so daily chart. So opened with a gap. I don't know if this is a result of some sort of rollover. I'm not sure, but we see that there's a gap open here, and now we're developing a little bit of a bearish candle here. Market still showing signs of strength to the upside, right? The trend line remains to the upside. Okay, so the market on the daily chart continues to be bullish. Now we're not really getting much in the way. Market's still kind of not open. We have 30 minutes away here from the New York session. Really nothing, no volume to speak of at the moment. Okay, let's move down to the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. Again, we'll turn off our initial balance range. You can see that price is, kind of hovering up at the highs here at 23,400. So this 23,400 level remains a resistance zone. Okay. So say 24,415. Those are the kind of the more recent highs here. Okay. Price is above our value range here on the right. Okay. Indicating that there's a fair amount of interest here to the upside. We have a trend line that's ascending. Okay, so that's bullish as well. Okay, so if I'm a buyer of this market, well, I'd like to buy as close to this trend line as I can, assuming that's going to hold. Okay, I'm not really, at these highs, I'm maybe not as keen to participant, right? Because I feel like I may be paying a bit of a premium. But nonetheless, we can see that we remain in somewhat of a bullish market to the upside. We're getting some price action here that looks more consolidating, retracing rather than impulsive to the downside. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the 30-minute chart. We'll look at the 30-minute chart here, and you can see really nothing in the overnight. Okay, nothing in the overnight that leads us to believe that they really have arrived at a direction for this market. Okay, so we have a lot of overlapping candles here on the 30-minute chart. We're kind of hovering on the top end of this swing. You can see that there was an attempt to head lower, was initially rejected, and now we're back at this bearish candle again as we head into the session. We're going to go ahead now and open up the fixed range volume profile. We're going to go ahead and start with the start of the session here. Okay, and we'll drag that to the close. Okay, so you can see that we still have a fair amount of support here that folks are willing to be a participant again, and they're not necessarily shy to be a participant above value. Okay, just given this price action, it feels like maybe this could be somewhat of a repair day. Okay, it feels like maybe price wants to kind of revisit some of these levels here, just based on some of the price action that I'm seeing. Okay, I see that we weren't able to make a new high in the overnight, and we have, at least for now, developed a little bit of a resistance zone here up above. Okay, here this does appear to be resisted around the 23,400 level. Does appear to be kind of a little bit of a resistant area. So we'll go ahead and mark that in as an area of some resistance. Okay. If I'm a buyer of this market, I would say that I would probably like to hold out until the top end of value. Maybe even potentially, I'm trying to see where this line is in the way here. Yeah, maybe as low as point of control. Okay, these would be kind of the ideal areas where I'd like to be. If I'm bullish, if my view of the market is bullish, then I'd like to buy as much of a discount as possible, right? And the discount areas for me right now, I mean, there's the ultimate discount, but I think given the strength of the market, I would say that 23,300, between 300 and 310 seem to be the value area, right? Seems to be the area of discount. Okay. Ultimately, a discount in this area would be 23,200. I don't anticipate that necessarily to happen. So my view is that maybe it's going to be closer to this area here. We see that we have some evidence of some buyers that stepped into this market here. So it'll be interesting. Okay, if the market does give us that opportunity, this could be a relatively nice area to be a participant in some sort of reversal or continuation trade to the upside. Okay. So that's kind of what I have for you for the NASDAQ. I would say that right now, I would say that I remain bullish on the market, but I would say on the shorter term, maybe there is going to be a little bit of a retracement, maybe back down to a known value here before we get any maybe a follow through impulsive move to the upside. We could very well remain in range today, given the large move that we had over the course of the session yesterday. That's not out of the realm of possibility either. But if I am a buyer, the area of focus is going to be that 23,300 level for me. Okay, and that would be, I would say, a relatively nice area to be a participant if we do get it. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the Dow here, not the Dow, the ES. Okay, so again, similar kind of thing. We're going to look at the daily. Okay, daily is again showing us signs that the market continues to have strength to the upside. We're seeing something in the way of a bearish candle here, but the market is still technically not opened. Okay, but we see that we continue to be in this kind of bullish direction, bullish trend in this market. Okay, looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. Okay, kind of plateaued here up at the highs here at 6,400. Okay, we've had a lot of overlapping candles. Really not able to, at least for now, not able to make a new high since the close of the session. Okay, so the overnight did not attract more buyers. Okay, Helios did not attract more buyers. Right, we're kind of in this kind of consolidation range here at the upper end, right around 6,400. Okay. So while we remain in some bullish price structure, we are getting a little bit in the way of some overlapping candles. Okay, so if I am bullish, I'd like to see a new high formed here in the session. Okay, moving down to the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart, like I had mentioned, not really seeing a whole lot of signs here of some bullish price action. We're kind of been ranging of late here. Maybe even showing more signs of bearish than bullish. Okay, we do see that we had at least a wick here to indicate that maybe there are some buyers below these levels, and then maybe they're accumulating for their next leg higher. That's certainly a possibility here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile here and take a look and see where the market is in relation to yesterday's price action. And you can see, unlike the Dow, okay, let's see if this is correct. Yes, unlike the Dow, we're on the top end of the value range. Okay, we have not been able to get above value, right? So that could lead into a potential of maybe remaining in this kind of value range. That's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. Basically, it's indicating that we're in an area of balance and in an area of maybe temporary fair price. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open up our anchor VWAP here for London just to get a sense for where London stands on all of this. Okay. And you can see that London is also, we have where price is below our daily VWAP, is below our London VWAP. So again, we're getting some indications, okay, that maybe we might be moving into some bearish territory here, right? But hard to arrive at sentiment when you have a VWAP that's relatively flat, right? So we have price above, price below, price above, price below. Really, the only thing that this is telling us is that we are in some sort of range. Okay, we are in some range price action. Right, really difficult to say which direction this is going to move. Right, at this point. Right, are we going to continue higher and make a new high, or are we going to continue to remain in this consolidation range? That's kind of the question that we need to ask ourselves. Right now, we're not getting any indication as to the direction, right? We did make an attempt to get lower. That was scooped up. We did make an attempt to go higher. That was sold off, right? So right now, not really giving me any indication as to the direction here. Now, if we manage to break and hold below this box, then maybe we head into some sort of repair day, right? Maybe we repair some of this move that we made yesterday in this market. Okay, that would not be a out of the realm of possibility here. Okay, so as I head into the open of the New York session, I'm going to be waiting for some additional data to support. Okay, the direction of any trade that I do take in this market. But right now, really, the market is really kind of, I guess, looking for some additional information to understand exactly which direction that they want to take this. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Dow here. and then we'll summarize kind of our view across all the markets. Okay, so here's the Dow. Looking again at the daily. So we made a very nice move here to the upside. We broke some levels here to the upside. We closed above some levels, but now we have an inside day, right? We have price inside this candle. So is this an indication that maybe we are in for maybe a swing to the downside? I'm not sure, right? We are at this 45,200 level. Okay, that we've been watching this 45,000 level for some time. Okay, we managed to close above it, but instead of opening higher, we opened below. So is that an indication that maybe we found maybe a temporary top? We'll have to wait and see over the course of the next few days here. Okay, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, so you can see that maybe a little bit more strength here to the downside in this market, right? We got a little bit of a pullback, but now we got this most recent candle has a little bit of momentum behind it. Okay, so this 4-hour candle is maybe potentially crashing the hopes of some buyers here. Okay, maybe that bought up at these levels. So we're starting to see maybe a little bit of some bearish price action. Volume is not quite there yet, but we're in pre-market at this point, right? So it's difficult to really make any strong view on that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and move down to our 30-minute chart. Okay, we're going to go ahead and review our kind of where price is in relation to yesterday's value range. Okay, so we're going to locate the start of the session into the close of the session. I think I went too far. One too many. Okay, so again, similar to the other markets, but we've actually exceeded the value range to the downside. Okay, so unlike the Nasdaq, unlike the ES, the Dow has actually closed below the value range. Okay, now is this just merely a supportive area where we could see maybe a bounce in price back to the upside? That's certainly in the possibility, but the fact that we are below value from yesterday, and that we do have some participants that are willing to pay a little bit of a premium here to be short in this market is something to make note of. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our anchored VWAP here into this discussion. Okay, so London appears to be participating in this move, right? So we do appear to have a fair number of sellers, okay, in this market. We are coming up into some areas that we could find maybe some supportive price, okay, or some buyers in this market. We're at a level now, this 44,890 level, and then I'm trying to look here below here. We have some pockets of some support here. But obviously the ultimate one here is this down here as this 44,500 level. So it'll be interesting. Okay, it'll be interesting over the course of this session how price reacts around some of these pockets of support here, right? Because I do see that there's this area right here is supportive, and we're right on top of it right now. Okay, so the question becomes: is this going to serve as an area for price to reverse and turn? Or is it going to continue in its current path, which is lower? Okay, so out of all the equity markets, I would say that right now the Dow looks the most bearish to me. Okay, so heading into the market, that's kind of would be my view here. Okay, all right. Before we kind of do a little summary of all the markets here, just kind of want to remind everyone to not be shy with the likes and comments that and kind of let me know that this analysis is supporting your understanding of the markets is always helpful. Okay, so if you have not hit the like button, I encourage you to do so. So let's go ahead and take a look at kind of summarize kind of our position across all this. We're going to go ahead and start off with the gold market and just kind of summarize kind of our view here. Okay, so I would say again, looking at the gold market of late, looking at the daily, right? We were looking at this on the daily side. You can see that we are developing a little bit of some bearish price action here, right? So I think headed into the market, I am somewhat, I would say, bearish, okay, in this market, right? I see a candle that closed relatively strong, okay, to the downside, bullish, bearish engulfing, and now we have a developing candle to the downside. Okay, moving on to the crude oil market. Okay, crude oil market is showing some, I would say, some signs of maybe it found some support here around the 64 level, where I would say in the beginning stages of maybe creating a little bit of a W pattern, maybe a double bottom here. That could potentially lead us to some higher prices in this market. I do feel that the 64 level is a level of maybe some significance. And I would say that as long as we remain above 64, we need to continue to look maybe for some bullish opportunities in this market. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ one last time. So NASDAQ, again, continues to show some bullish price action to the upside. Looking at this on the 30-minute side, we've been kind of ranging of late here on the upper end of the range. You can see that price is above our value range. Okay. So obviously, if I'm a buyer, I'd like to be a buyer at some of these levels that I mentioned earlier. This 23,300 level seems like a relatively nice area to participate in this market to the upside. And then looking at the ES, okay, again, similar kind of thing, but slightly less bullish. Okay, the fact that price is inside the range of yesterday, so that kind of leads me to believe that maybe we are maybe in a potential repair day in the ES. And then lastly, the Dow appears to be the most bearish of the three markets at this point. Okay, price is below value and beginning to break some structure here to the downside. So that's kind of what I have for you guys for today. As we enter the New York session here in about 10 minutes, hey Dirk, yeah, we close this session. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Okay. Again, don't be shy with the likes and subscribes, and have an excellent trading session today. Okay. And we'll talk again soon.